Hi, and welcome to this month's update from the FPA. Last time I spoke to you, we'd seen the passing of the Professional Standards and Education legislation, the Life Insurance Framework. A lot's still been going on in Parliament in the last few months. Just recently, we've seen two bills introduced into the lower house and the upper house, calling for a commission of inquiry into banking and financial services. These are effectively royal commissions, and we're still to see whether or not these will pass through Parliament. We've seen the corporate tax cuts introduced, which has introduced the first 3 years of tax cuts that the government proposed in last year's budget to businesses. And we've seen ASIC's funding model legislation introduced into Parliament. Unfortunately, there's not much detail yet around ASIC's funding model and how it will affect financial planners, so we've still got a lot of questions around that piece of legislation. The other things that are sort of happening around the profession at the moment is that we have the Professional Standards and Education body currently being set up. So there's not a lot of action on that, but this is giving us time to develop some policy papers and proposals for the new body. We've been arguing for co-regulation of financial planning for a long time, and this is really our opportunity to have a really good say in how the new standards around financial planning should be implemented. The legislation itself provides a shell, and a lot of the details are going to come from that standard setting body. So what we're doing is putting together a series of papers that will allow us to have a say in how the standard setting body should set up those new standards for you as financial planners. We're going to release these in the coming weeks and months, and we'd really like you to have your say on what each of those should be, how they should work, and what they should look like. In particular, the curriculum and how existing financial planners should be measured, and around the exam. Finally, for those of you who are registered with the TPB currently, in the next few months you'll start to get reminders from the TPB that it's time for you to renew. And we'd encourage you to start to have a look at the renewal process and which pathways you fit in for those. For those who haven't registered yet, there's still 3 months left to take advantage of the transitional registration model. And that transitional registration model means that you don't need to meet the current education standards that they've proposed, and you'll have 3 more years to meet that requirement. So we really encourage you to have a look at that pathway. Finally, we've got the roadshows coming up, and if you haven't already registered, registrations are filling up really fast in a lot of our locations. So please go onto the website and have a look at those registration details and register for your local chapter. We'll be talking a lot about the Professional Standards and Education Framework, what's happening with the regulators, and we'll also be talking about the new Professional Ongoing Fee Code that the FPA has recently had approved by ASIC. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please send me an email at policy@fpa.com.au. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to get you involved in upcoming submissions. Thank you.